Hi guys, I have returned. It's been a while, guys. I can't remember the last time I did a video. It was like getting on for 2 months ago, I think. Um, Life has just been chaotic, and there's a few things that have been going on. I don't want to go into any details, but things have been happening, and I just haven't, I just haven't had time to do a video. And to be honest, I lacked motivation and inclination, to be honest. But I'm just going to do one today, a simple one, effective but simple. And what you're going to need is some clay. I've got some opaline, Cernit Opaline here. Now you could do this all in translucent if you wanted to, but I'm running a bit low, so I'm just going to go with the opaline, which is a semi-translucent clay. And what I've done is I've rolled out a sheet on the thickest setting and cut it into 8 equal 2-inch squares, just so I know that each section has an equal amount of clay. So there's two there, two there, two there, two there, um, two for each colour of alcohol ink that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to go with these Picassio inks. You can do this in any colour you want to, but I'm going with the Picassio in manganese blue and fuchsia. These are listed in my Amazon storefront link. Um, Left in the description, the pinned comment, along with all my other links for cutters, etc. I'm also going to be using the violet ink and the sapphire ink, and down the road we're going to use some black as well. I've also rolled out a sheet of just translucent, that this is rolled onto a setting number 3 on my Atlas 150, 0 being the thickest setting. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. That's the setting I've done it on. You'll also need some of this Distress Crackle paste. Now this is not the same as the Distressed Crackle paint. This actually dries white opaque. And again, this is listed in my Amazon storefront. And I love this, it's cool. So there's that, and also some copper leaf. So we're going simple, guys. Just to get back into the swing of things. Hopefully I've got my mojo back and I'll have more ideas. Oh, you'll also need some of these pens. Now these are called Yahoo Paint Marker Pen, and I've got one in gold and one in silver. Again, these are listed in my Amazon storefront. You'll need a blade and a roller, etc. And also some kind of stamp that's going to stamp fairly deep. Now I've got all these from Ojoy Creations. She's also listed. I'll also link her rather in the description and pinned comment. These are the mokume stamps. So they're not cutters, they're stamps. This one is actually a cutter, but I'm going to use it as a mokume stamp. Again, she's got that in her shop, and then this one as well. All right, so they're all from Ojoy Creations. All right, first thing first then, let me make some room. I'm going to take each of those 8 squares, two on each, for each one, two for each colour. And I'm going to go with, let me think, I'm going to go with the violet and the sapphire and the manganese blue and the fuchsia. And I just remembered I do need another piece of, another chunk of, should I do, yeah, I'll stick with the opaline. I forgot I needed another little bit, guys. So I'm just going to grab that. And I'm just going to take a chunk, I don't know, equivalent to maybe 1.5 strips of a 2-ounce block ish. Let's just go with a little bit more. So maybe half of a block then. And I'm just going to cut that in half. Just very rough, guys, just very rough. And they're just going to stay there for the time being. All right, so, oh, I didn't grab a glove either. Hang on a sec, guys. I'm just wheeling my way over here to grab a glove. I always forget something, don't I? Right, just going to get my glove on. I'm just going to blow it up so it's easy to get on. And it's just because I'm going to use my finger to rub the ink on. So let's go with the violet first. I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3 little drops. rub it in, leave it to dry, and that's going to get thoroughly mixed into the clay once it's dry. So there's that. Now you can do this as dark as you want to, light as you want to. I'm just going to go with the 3 drops, and when I roll it out, if I don't like it, I could always add a little bit more. Then I'm going to go with the sapphire, 1, 2, 3 drops, smear that on, and then leave it to dry. That's that one. Fuchsia, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go with 4 on that because this one does look a little pale once it's mixed in. So I'm going with that. And then last but not least, the manganese blue. And 1, 2, 3 little drops. All right, so these have got to be dry. So obviously I'm going to go off camera and let them dry. And then once they're dry, I'm going to pass each of these colours through the pasta machine until they're thoroughly mixed, and I'll be back. Right guys, the ink dried and I passed each one through the pasta machine till the colours are thoroughly mixed in. And I'm just going to turn these into 2 Skinner blends. So I'm going to go, I think I'll go this way around. Not that it really matters a great deal. And I'm just going to turn each of these colours into little teardrop shapes. So you just roll it into a ball. Don't get too dizzy as I'm rolling. But roll it into a ball like so, and then just take in between the palm of your hands like that and roll it into a little point at the end so it looks like a little teardrop. Alright, so I'm going to do the same with all of these, and then the other bit of opaline that I told you about is going to go, they're also rolled into teardrops as well. So I'll do the rest off camera. I've done all those, and I've got one going that way, one pointing that way, and one pointing that way, so they're alternating like that. Then all you're going to do is get your roller, and I'm going to do the same thing for both of these. So I'll just show you one and do the other off camera. So you're just going to roll it together like this. Make sure the pieces are stuck together. And then I'm going to take it through my pasta machine. Doesn't matter which setting, I guess, but just so you don't ram it in there, I'm just going to take it down on my thickest setting, this way down, okay? So it's going down like that into my pasta machine. I'm just going to roll it out, and it's going to stretch out like this. But then you're going to take it again and fold it over colour to colour. So opaline on opaline, the purple on the purple and the blue on the blue. And I always like to roll this way. So when I've rolled, I flip it. You get a more equal blend that way. So I'll pass it through this way, fold it again, and then I'll pass it through this way, if that makes sense. So roll it out again. So I rolled it through this way with the opaline on the left. I'm going to fold it colour to colour, and I'm going to pass it through the pasta machine with the blue on the left, and I'm going to keep doing that until I've got a nice blend. All right, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with this one, and I'll be back. All right, so I've got my 2 blends, but what I want to do now is make them into a long strip. So let me just put one to the side. I'm going to do the exact same thing on both pieces, and all you're going to do is take colour to colour this way, so blue to blue, lilac to lilac, opaline to opaline, fold it over colour to colour like so, and then same on this side, and then bring it over into a nice rectangular shape like that. Okay, just going to give it a little squish, make sure it's pressed together, and then I'm going to pass this through the pasta machine this way down, and I'm going to take it down probably to a 5. It doesn't have to be too thin for this. So I'll just do this one on camera as well. So fold colour to colour, colour to colour, roll it over onto itself like so. So you've got another rectangle, and again that's going to get passed through onto a number 5. So you're going to end up with 2 long strips, and I've got ink on me already, look. All right, so I'm going to take these through the pasta machine. I'll just do it on the thickest setting to show you first. So I'm just going to take it down. I know you can't see me doing it, but I'm just passing it through. So you're going to end up with a strip like that, but then I'm going to take it down thinner to a number 5. I've
I'll be
got both
back.
my strips, guys, and I'm just going to take each one and do the same thing on both. So let me just move one out of the way so I've got room because it's pretty long. And I'm just going to start with the lightest in the middle. So I'm starting with the opaline end, and I'm just going to start, I've got to try and get it in camera. I'm just going to start rolling it up into a jelly roll cane. Very simple. I like to just give it a little squeeze as I go along. So I'm getting out all those air bubbles, and you're just going to roll it down the whole strip like so. And you can see the nice gradient of colour there. Alright, so I'm just going to do this one on camera. I'll do the other one off camera because I'm doing the exact same thing. Just rolling it down like so. Like I say, give it a little squeeze as I go along. And the rest of the way. Okay, so that's that one, and now I'm going to do the other one off camera. And I shall return. Oops, that's a bit wonky. Don't panic if it goes wonky. Just straighten it out a little bit if you can. If not, still don't worry about it. It's going to get rolled out thinner, so you're ending up with a little plug like this just to start with, but it is going to be rolled out thinner. Alright, so I'm going to go and do the same with this one. And so now you should have two plugs that look like this. Okay, now I'm going to get some copper leaf. Now it would be a lot easier, guys, and just a heads up, but this is me that's doing it, you know, and I'm kind of whatever. It would be easy if you've got the actual sheets of metal leaf. I do have them, but I don't have them in copper, and I really want to do this copper. You don't have to, you could do them in gold, silver, whatever colour you want to. So this is going to get a bit messy because I'm just going to plonk some of this on these logs. So I just kind of get it out. I don't care if I make a mess, just slap it on. Doesn't have to be 100% covered. We're just giving it a little bit of, you know, sparkle, like so. Just on the edge, just on the outside of the log, like so. Like I say, it doesn't have to be 100% covered. I'm just giving it a little glint of glimmer. Alright, so there's that one. And I'm just going to do the same with the other one. Running a bit low on this as well, guys. I don't feel like I've really stocked up on much just lately. I haven't really been doing a lot of clay stuff. Like I say, there's things been going on. I mean, I know I did a community post on YouTube, and I did end up going to ER with my hubby. He was worried he was having a heart attack because when he was 39, which was 6 years ago, he did have a massive heart attack and he had to have a triple bypass. There's been things going on that got very stressful for him, and he was getting chest pain, so he was scared that he was having another heart attack. He wasn't. The doctor just thinks it was stress, but we weren't taking any chances, so we ended up in ER for the night. Well, he did. Had to do a stress test and all that kind of thing. Thankfully, his heart's absolutely fine. It's really, really good condition, so we're happy about that. And then I ended up in ER and I had diverticulitis, so I was pretty sick for a while there. And like I say, there's been other things going on that I'm not going to divulge, but yeah, it's been an interesting few months, so clay has been on the back burner. Alright, so I've waffled on for long enough. I've got my two plugs and they're messily wrapped in copper leaf, but you know, it'll all work out. Let me just give this a quick wipe down. Cover myself in copper leaf. And now I'm going to do is just take each of these logs and reduce them. So we're going to get a long, thinner log or plug. So I like to just start pressing in the middle and turn and then start to move out to the edges with my thumbs like this. You don't want to roll straight away. You want to get everything nicely compressed in the middle and gradually work your way out. And then when you've got everything nicely And this, honestly guys, this does not have to be perfect for this technique. It doesn't even matter if you're, you know, because we're going to cut these into sections, it doesn't even matter a great deal if each section isn't, you know, the same thickness or whatever. It's not drastic. But anyway, roll it out as evenly as you can into a longer, thinner cane like this. Now, I'm thinking, don't know, not very good at measurements, guys. About this thick. Let me just cut the edge off so you can see a little bit better. So it's really not that big of a log, or thick of a log, should I say. You can do them thicker. It really doesn't matter. Okay, but I'm just going to go with roughly that thickness. And then same with this one. Start in the middle, turn, and just start pulling out towards the edge. And that way you're getting a nice, it's getting all nicely compressed inside. So this is quite straightforward. This is a very simple cane. Now start to give it a roll, a little twist, a little shimmy, and we're going to roll it out the same length as this one. So I'll do that off camera and I'll Alright, I've got these two canes now. Now they're about 12 inches long. I just measured it. Again, it doesn't have to be precise. We've got 12-inch and it's about half an inch, you know, going across. Just to give you a bit of an idea, but like I say guys, you can do these as thick as you want to, and now I'm just going to cut them into equal-ish sections. I'm not very good at eyeballing, so we'll see how it turns out. But see how many I should have like used a ruler really and got equal cuts, but I'm not that bothered, guys. Honestly, I'm terrible for that. I just kind of go with it. It's like, it'll work out, it'll be fine. Yeah, so I've got a little bit of, these ones are going to be a little bit shorter, I think, but we can roll those out. Again, like I say, they don't have to be perfectly. If one's a little bit shorter, or you can use a ruler and measure them exactly. That's entirely up to you. All right, so let's alternate the logs then. So we've got the one that's got the blue on the outside and the one that's got the, well, the lighter. So we're going to go light and dark and make them fit. So dark, light. Actually, they all look a bit the same now. That's the light one. You're just alternating them, guys. Again, it's no biggie, and you're just going to stack them like so. Not that one. I don't think I've done this right, have I? Yeah, I have. Yes, I have. No, I haven't. So I've got two pinks together. Right, okay. So what am I doing, guys? Let me start again. All right. So let's just say blue, pink, blue, like so. And then blue, pink, pink. So you're alternating the colours. Blue, pink, blue. Whoops. And it might not stick very well to start with because of the copper leaf that you've got. It kind of resists sticking a little bit. And then I'm just going to I'm going to do a row of 4, I think. This one needs rolling out a little bit, just so it matches the others. That one was a little bit short. And that one's a little bit long. But you get the idea. All right, see, it's 12 pieces and I'm going 4 across, alternating the colours. We got there in the end. Now what I want to do is just make sure this is all stuck together, and I'm just going to start to squash it into a squarer block like so. Again, don't worry if some of them get a little bit squished like this one. It really doesn't matter, guys. You've probably seen this technique before, but I just wanted to try it with like more translucent colours with inks. I just think it gives a more subtle look. And then obviously I'm going to do a little extra something to it as well when I finally got it together. Alright, so you've got your block of alternating canes like so. Just want to square it off just a little bit more, but then what you're going to do is you're going to turn it on one of its corners like this, and you're going to push down from this corner, and it just gives a little bit of a different effect when you do mokume. It's actually called hidden magic, but like I say, I wanted to do it just a little bit different, because at the end of the day, guys, techniques are techniques. It's what you do with the techniques that makes it a little bit more different, a little bit more unique. You don't have to stick to opaque colours for a mokume. You can do translucent colours. You don't have to use ink if you don't want to. You can just use translucent colours, because obviously they do come in translucent colours. I just like the look of the alcohol ink with this. It gives it more of a romantic look. Alright, so when you've got that squashed, whoops, and you've knocked your copper leaf over, just give it a roll out, like so, going the same way as the canes are going. I'm going to flip it and even it out a little bit on the other side. I'm just going to stretch it out that way a bit too. Alright, so I've done that, and now I'm going to grab that translucent that I'd already rolled out onto a number 3, if you remember, and I'm just going to put that on top. I just want a little bit of extra translucency to pop through, so I'm just going to... Oh, do you know what I didn't do? I forgot something else, guys. You are going to need another little bit of translucent, and I've only just thought about it. Ah, dear. I always think I've remembered everything, and I haven't, but it's no biggie. Alright, in fact, I'm just going to use the opaline, not the translucent. I've just got a little bit gathered together. You don't need a great deal. So when you've put your translucent on top like that, you're just going to cut it in half. I'm just going to eyeball it, ish. And you're going to stack it. So you've got a bit of translucent sandwiched in between, like so. And now what am I talking about? I don't need any more clay. I was right, guys. Ignore me. We're just going to put some alcohol ink on this top bit. Derp. Derp, derp. I think I'll always be a bit of a derp, guys. It's just the way I am. So I'm just going to roll this out a little bit more. Now, what I tend to do is, when you've got a thick stack like this, obviously if you're going to be using stamps or these mokume, gane imprints, you don't want it to be too thick, otherwise it's not going to go all the way through to the bottom. So I try and roll it out to accommodate the thickness of whatever stamp I'm using. All right. So I'm just going to do that. But before I roll it any further, I am just going to apply that black ink. And you know what I did, guys? I took my glove off, and now it's not here, and now I can't find my black ink either. Give me a second, I'll be back. I've sorted myself. I've got my glove on, and I found my ink, and I'm using black. You want a darker colour to go on this last bit of the top bit of the stack. Just don't worry about it if it gets a few little blotches. It's not a big deal. Not for this anyway. You know, if you leave the ink on too long, it will stain it in the dot that you put it on as, if that makes sense. This is actually okay. So I'm just going to do that and then rub that all over. And I go over it a few times with my finger. It just helps to dry it off a little bit quicker. And you really don't need a great deal, guys. I mean, you could do it darker if you wanted to. But again, I'm trying to keep it more subtle. Alright, so I should probably let this dry before I roll it out a bit more. But actually. I think it's already dry because I did do that with my finger. All right, so when it is dry, you can continue, and you're just going to roll it out a little bit thinner, and it's also going to stretch that black out a bit as well. So I just don't want it to be too thick because I really want it to be the thickness of the cutters or thereabouts. All right, so I'm just going to roll it one more time. Boop, a boop. Make sure it's stuck on my tile. It feels a little bit uneven, so I'm just going to make sure it's a bit more level. All right, and I'm going to grab a wipe because my other one's a bit dirty now. And I'm just going to wipe these down with a wet wipe just so that it doesn't stick in the clay. It's always a good idea just to damp them down. Some people just use water, but I just grab a wipe. Let me move this down a bit so you can actually see. And I'm just going to use each of those stamps that I've got, and I'm just going to push it down, give it a little wiggle just to make sure it's in there good, and hopefully it'll just lift straight out, which it did. So there's that one. Let's go with this big sunflower one. Like I say, you can use anything that's going to make a nice deep impression, but I really do like these flowers, so I'm going to go with the flowers. Now, bearing in mind that this is a cutter, so you could end up cutting all the way through, but it's not a big deal if you do, because this is all going to get rolled back together. I mean, I think I did go all the way through, but it's not a big deal, guys. I'm just going to grab another wipe. That one doesn't feel that wet. I think it dried out a bit. Now I've got this one. Let's try and fit it in up here. Again, I'm just pushing it in, giving it a little bit of a rock. Make sure it's gone all the way through. Now, there's no way I'm going to use all this slab on camera, guys, so I will just make, oh, you see, look, that's stuck. So that's not good. So I'm going to have to try and get that out. That's a shame. I think I'm just going to not worry about it and do this. It's no biggie, because I'll be there forever taking that out. I'll do it later. All right, so let's try this one then. Maybe I didn't wet it enough, I don't know. Make sure it's good and wet this time. And again, same thing. Again, this is actually a cutter, not an imprint, so you might end up cutting all the way through, but it's not a big deal. All right, and then let's use this one again. So you're just basically filling up your slab with whatever cutters you want to use, although for this, what I'm doing specifically, it really needs to be flowers. All right, so I've got a few more spaces there. I clogged this one up, and this is actually my favourite one. So I'm actually going to go off camera and try and get these bits out, and then I'm going to stamp it here again as well, and I'll be back. Okay, I filled the whole slab with my imprints, like so. Now I'm going to close it back up a bit. So I'm going to grab my roller, and I'm just going to roll over just to close it back up a little bit, like so. I really like the open look where you just like shave it off, but this is quite an open pattern, and it would just become little bits, so it's better to, you know, roll it back over a little bit so it closes up, so it stays together when you take your slices. Okay, so there we go. That's the slab. Like I say, I'm not going to do a ton of pieces on camera, but I will take some shavings off so you can see what's underneath. And I already did a slab very similar to this. I've got quite a bit of that left. But I'll just show you. Okay, so I'll just make a couple of pieces, guys, is what I'm trying to say. So I might go off camera a little bit, but you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go with this flower here, the bottom. In fact, I'll just move it up. Just hope it doesn't fall to bits on me. There we go. See, that one opened up a little bit. Let me just go back over this. Make sure it's all closed up and stuck together. All right. So just in case you were wondering as well, because some people might ask, I put that thin layer of black on the top. When you push through with your stamps, some of that black should and hopefully get dragged through, so you'll have a little bit of a black outline on your slices. So I'm getting a flexible blade here, and I'm going to go with this, and I'm just going to gently slice through like so, as thin as you can, but not so thin that it's going to break. And there we go, and that's what it looks like obviously before it gets baked. So I've got myself a piece of backing clay already rolled out, and I am just using the opaline. Let me just put that there for a minute, guys, while I just show you a couple more slices so you can get a better idea. So again, I'm just going to go boop, and I'm trying to capture as much of the flower as I can, so I'm kind of manoeuvring my blade through. That one slice through a little bit, but it will all come together when you burnish it. So there's that. Let's do this one. This is a bigger one. See if I can get a decent amount of that off as a whole piece without going too deep. And there's that one, guys. All right, so you get the idea. You're going to get a ton of pieces from this. A ton. Let's go with this one, just so you can see. All right, so I've got enough pieces there. I'm just going to move this slab out of the way. Like I say, you're going to get a ton of pieces out of this. But there you go. I mean, you could just even leave it like that if you wanted to, and just cut your shapes out, whatever, you know, just straight away cut into it. I'm not going to do that. I'm using the slices that I've cut, and obviously you'll get more pieces doing it that way as well. All right then, so I've got myself a little bit of opaline. It looks a bit grubby actually, but it's going to get covered, so I'm not too concerned. Doesn't matter how much I clean, I still get stuff everywhere. I only cleaned my craft room yesterday, but I'm a bit messy, so right then. All right, so I'm going to go with this cutter. Like I say, everything's linked in the description and the pinned comment, just in case you don't know where the description is. But I'm going to be using, you know, some different shapes, and these shapes are all from Oh Joy Creations. Again, she'll be linked. All right, I'm going to take. Let me just grab that. So they're my little slices that I cut off already. I'm just going to take this one and I'm going to pop it there like so. Make sure it's nicely stuck on there. I'm going to take my glove off now, I don't need it. I'm going to grab a piece of paper. This is just regular, ordinary copy paper, nothing special. Place it on top. I'm going to grab one of my steel soaps. Again, these are listed in my Amazon storefront. And I'm just going to gently burnish that on so it's flush with the clay. Now, the only thing I will say, sometimes the paper can stick to the clay and then it makes a bit of a mess when you try and peel it off. So periodically, I just like to lift it, excuse me, just to make sure it's not stuck too much. And then continue to burnish. And this just means you're getting all the creases out, all the little blemishes, fingerprints, whatever's on there, and it's also smoothing it out and making it flush to the backing clay. And then you can go over with your finger to feel not quite there yet, guys, so just a little bit more. And I like to turn it and, you know, make sure I've got all of it. And I think that feels pretty smooth now, hopefully. Yeah, just a little bit more. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to lift this off again, just in case it did stick too much, and it didn't, so it's fine. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean because it does look a little bit grubby. So I'm using isopropyl, I can say it, isopropyl alcohol. This is from Walmart. It's the Equate brand. 91% this one is. You can use a lower percentage, but it's rubbing alcohol basically. I'm just going to spray a little bit on my tile, and I'm just going to put my wipe in it, and it just helps to clean up the clay because it was a little bit grubby. All right, just a bit more. Now, a while ago, I actually did this technique and I made some hanging hearts with it. Now, people wanted to know how I did it. Well, in all reality, the heart is just a bigger heart. So instead of using a pendant size one, you use a big size one. You're just making a big pendant, basically. But this is the same technique that I did for those hearts, just in case any of you remember that and wanted to know. So if you want to do a, you know, an ornament, just make a bigger one. All right, so I've got this, but what I want to do is I want to make 2 pendants from this one piece. So I'm going to go with this rather lovely triangular shape. Clean it off a little bit, and I'm just going to go more or less center to center like that. So they're going to match. You do want to leave a little bit of white, so actually I think I'm just going to bring this down a bit because I do want a little bit of white showing. Or should I do it this way? Then there'd be no white showing, would there? Anyway, either way, you're making a matching, you can make it in a matching pair of earrings or 2 pendants, whatever you want to do. I'm probably just going to keep them as pendants. I'm going to grab my acrylic block and boop. I always like to give it a bit of a rock. And it's probably going to stick because it's on paper, but that's fine. I'd rather keep it on paper than stick it on a tile. So there's that one. So it's half of a flower. And then I'm just going to get this one and cut that bit out as well, leaving a little bit of the white showing. Well, although it is actually opaline, but you know what I mean, guys. So there's that. So I'm just going to pop that there. Let me just move this over. All right, so you've got a cute little set of either a pair of earrings if you want to, because they match up, or whatever, 2 pendants. All right, so that's that one. So I've got enough clay here to do. I'll do one more piece on camera. Let's go with this one, actually. Let me just get rid of this. I don't want to get it on that other piece that I'm just about to make. I'm just going to pass this back through my pasta machine on the thickest setting. Just make sure it's nicely conditioned. Pop that there. Excuse me. All right, so I'm just going to get one more little piece, and like I say, you're going to get a ton of pieces from this. I'm just going to pop that there. I'm going to grab my paper again and give this a burnish. me just move these out of the way before I damage them. So just another quick burnish on this one then. Make sure it didn't stick to the paper too much. Like so. I think that's good. Alright, so there's that one as well. I'm just going to give it a quick clean again. So the isopropyl alcohol, just spraying it on my tile, getting my wipe and just cleaning it up, getting any bits that you don't want that are on there. Just to clean it up a little bit, although you're not going to see too much of it anyway. Alright, so that will do for that. So I've got these 3 pieces here. Let me just pop that back on there. And I think I'll go with the heart shape for this one. So I want some white showing. So let's just go there like so. You just decide where it looks good, guys. I like it just there. Give it a bit of a boop. I think ideally I would have liked a little bit more of the white showing, but it is what it is. I'll show you some of the pieces that I made anyway, so you can see. Alright, so there's those. I just think they look so, I don't know, they just look so romantic. I love them. Last little step then, before they go in the oven, I'm going to grab my crackle paste. Like I say, this actually dries white opaque and it looks pretty cool. I'm just going to grab a little brush. Now I like to use a little stubbly brush like this. You know, it hasn't got much movement in it. It's kind of stiff and stubbly. And I'm just going to grab that paste rather, dip it in there like so. And I'm going to stipple it onto the opaque bit that's showing. Like so. Just going to stipple it on there. And then you've got to let that dry and it will crackle, and it does look really cool, guys. So this is just a little extra something you can do to your mokume. You don't have to just, you know, cut it out as it is. And I kind of like doing stuff like that, just experimenting. It gives it just a little bit of a different look. And I'm going to stipple some on this, but I'm going to keep that little bit there open, just as the opaline. So this is only going to have a little bit of a crackle. I mean, you could do boop, 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 boop in the centre of the flower if you wanted to, like that. And then the last one, just got a bit too much on that. Just give it a quick stipple. I like to do that rather than brushing it on. It just gives it a more crackled look. Okay, as easy as that, guys. So I'm going to leave that to dry, probably about 5 minutes. It doesn't take that long to dry. I'll show you when it's dried, and then they're going to go in the oven, and I'm going to bake them for an hour on, yeah, I used Cernit, didn't I? So 265 is their recommended temperature. But I'm just going to let these dry. I'll be back. Alright guys, so I made another one. I did a round one, and you can see now the crackle has dried, and that's how it looks. It dries opaque white, like I say. So I'm going to go and put those in the oven. Like I say, I've got loads of pieces left. So I did actually go ahead and do, they're going to be, you know, the hearts that you hang off the wall or whatever. Obviously you just use bigger cutters like this. I got these from Amazon, I think. I mean, I haven't got them listed, but they're so easy to find. Just larger hearts. I've done one big one and one medium-sized one. Exactly the same way as I did the pendants. And then I've put my crackle paste, you know, where I wanted it to go. Now you can either punch a hole here so you can put something through to hang it. I like to use those screw, what do you call them? they're called eye pins, where you just screw them in. But you don't have to do that. You could just like punch a hole in. I'll show you when I've finished. But that's it. So I did throw in a couple of larger hearts as well. You didn't need to see me do it because it's the same as this, or the only difference is they're bigger, and I've added more than one of the slices on there. 2 on this one, 3 on that one. All right, so I'm going to go and bake those for an hour, and I will be back. All the pieces are out of the oven then. So these are the 2 that I did on camera. Well, these are the 3 that I did on camera. And you can see that crackle. Now I haven't sanded the edges yet because I don't want to get this wet in case it comes off. So I'm going to do the next step, and then I'll resin them. And then when they're resined, I will go back in and sand the edges. These are the hearts, the larger hearts, look. And then I did that one off camera as well. Okay, so next step then, get one of your pens, your gold or your silver, whichever one you fancy. I think I'm going to go with gold on these. And I'm just going to add a little touch to these just to give it another little extra something. Let me just get a wipe because I just splodged gold pen. I don't want to put my arm in it. All right, so get one of these pens. Like I say, these are listed in my Amazon, and you're just going to do what you want really, but I'm just going to very simply just follow some of those lines, and it just gives it a little extra pop. So they're the petals from the flower, like so. Let's see, let's just do a little one there, like that. Like so. Now, shall I do something in the centre? I think I'll just go like that. So you've got a little centrepiece as well. I think I'll join it up. So there's that one. And then because these are supposed to be like a matching pair of earrings, although I'm probably just, I don't know whether to do them as earrings or as pendants, guys, to be honest, but you can do whichever. So we'll follow this one down like so, and that one like that, and then we'll kind of do that on there so it kind of matches. I mean, they don't have to be exact, but that's that. And then what I'll do is I'll resin them, and what I do is I get a tile with some masking tape just turned upside down so it's sticky side up. Pop them on there like so. I'm going to wait for that gold pen to dry before I resin them though. So there's those 2. Simple. And let's go with gold on this one. I absolutely love this one. I love how the flower came out on this one, and you can really see that black outline as well. So I'm just going to do just a few little, you have to keep shaking these pens so the paint flows again. I'm just going to do some very simple little lines like so, just following those petals like so. And I think that's all I'm going to do on that one. Oh, actually, I think I'll just do a few little boops, just a few little dots, nothing major. So that one can be resined as well. Let me just bring my tile back over. So I'll pop them there, leave them to dry, and then I'll resin them. And then I'll do the same thing on this round one, but just to show you, whoops, one of the hearts, one of the bigger hearts. I made the pen splodge again. Let's just go with the smaller one. I'll show you all of it after I've finished all of them. So I'm just going to do the same thing, just follow some of those petals around. But what I think I might actually do, just to add another little bit of interest, is follow the petals out like that. So you're taking it onto the white clay as well. Just extending those petals. It just adds another extra detail. I think I'm going over the crackle paint there now, so I've got to be a little bit careful. But you get the idea, guys. I'm just bringing some of those petals out, although that's a crackly bit there. So, like so. Do a few little extra boops on this one. Just play around with it. Do what you think looks good. So there we go. So some of those petals have extended out onto the white, so that will get resined as well. I'll just quickly do this one. And I kind of like this one where I've put the crackle a little bit over the slice, so it almost looks like it's disappearing behind that crackle. Just a few little tips here and there, you know, make your pieces your own. Yes, you're going to be using the same technique, but make them different. Do something a bit creative. All right, so I'm going to resin that as well. I'm not going to do this one on camera, but you get the idea. So I'm going to resin all of these. And then I will go back and sand the edges so they're smooth. Like I said, I don't want to do it with that paint, and I think I'm going to have to do something with this because that I shouldn't have put the crackle so far around, but there you go. All right, I'll do this one off camera. I'm going to resin them. I'll sand the edges and I'll be back. Actually, before I go, I will just resin one piece quickly now, just in case somebody asks how I do it, although I do have a video that shows how I do it, but just so you can see the difference as well from the resin and not resined. So I've got my things on there. Just make sure they're nice and securely on there before I resin. And I use this resin. This is linked in my Amazon again, and it's the Let's Resin UV resin. And I just simply pour it on like that. I just kind of tend to do it in the middle, like so. And just drag it to the edges, and that's it. Now, resin does pull away, so you might have to go back and check, and if it's pulled away you can just drop a little bit more on and drag it to the edges. This needs a little bit more, so I'm just going to put a bit more on. I'm just gently taking it all to the edge, like so, and that's how I resin my pieces. And you've got it on the tape so it's not going to move around. Different people do different things. They might put it on a silicone mat or something, but I just like that security of it being stuck to the tape. Alright, so that's all you do. And then before you put it in the UV lamp, you're just going to have to blast it with a lighter just to make sure you've got burst any air bubbles that may have formed. Just give it a quick boop, boop, boop over like that. And then under the UV lamp. My UV lamp is also listed in the Amazon storefront. And it's the, well actually, I got a different one. I got the Let's Resin one. It's there, guys. It's really good. I've also got a Melody Susie, but I got a new one and it was the Let's Resin one. So you'll see that listed as well. All right, so I'm going to do the same on all of those pieces. I'm going to finish this one and I'll be back. All right, guys, I've resined them all. Now, the big one, I decided I don't like it, so I didn't bother resining it. I've not touched it. I've got to do something with it, so I'm not going to show that one again. It looks like it did before. I just don't like it, so I'm going to fiddle around with that one. But this is the heart, the ornamental heart, and there's the two little pendants or earrings, and there's the other heart, and there's the round one. Now I'm not going to dress them, but I'll show you once that I have finished. But before I do that, I just love how they came out, guys. They're so pretty. No idea what to call them, by the way. But I said I was going to show you how I attach one of these, and I'll probably do the same with the pendant as well. Attach one of these. So all you do is you get a little drill like this. I think this is listed in my Amazon. If not, I'll add it. and you just find the spot. You're not drilling all the way down, you're just creating that little hole to start with. So you're just drilling a little bit just to get it going. Okay, and it is a bit fiddly because they're so small, these little things. And you just find where you started to drill that hole and you just screw it in. It's as easy as that. And I just really like that. And I like doing that with pendants as well. And you just screw it in. It should hold without adding any glue because you're screwing it all the way down. And there you go. So there's the heart. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to, when I looked at one of my original ones that I did, I actually added a little bit of glitter. So I just added, I mean, you could do it when the clay's still raw, but because I'd already baked it, I just used these stickles. I've got some of these listed in my Amazon as well. I don't know if you can catch it on camera. There's just little hints of glitter here and there just to add a bit of extra sparkle. So there's that. So I'll add a ribbon or something. I can't decide whether to do pendants or earrings for that one, for those. This one I'm probably going to do the same as I did for this. Now, I did the outline of the petals in the gold leaf, the gold pen on this one, but this one I used silver, so you can get a general idea of what the gold and silver looks like. And all I did was I used one of those screw things again and just added a couple of little beads that really match well, actually. I found these little beads, I was like, oh, look at that. Really good match. And then just a simple cord and ribbon type necklace thing. So there's that. So I'm probably going to do something similar with this one. Not decided about those yet. Not decided what I'm going to do with the round one either. But I'll show you as is. And then this is another one that I did. This is from my original batch. I mean, it's almost identical in colour. I really didn't change it that much. And I just did a very messy wire wrap and added a chain and then a toggle clasp. Now, people have asked me if I'll show how to do this kind of thing. Guys, I'm not good at it. I can do it, but it takes me a long time. So I wouldn't want to be the one to show you how to do things like that. But there's plenty of tutorials that will show you how to do a simple wire wrap like that. And then you just thread the chain through and then you add a jump ring on either side and then add the toggle clasp. I've got toggle clasps listed in my Amazon. So you just put the jump ring through the chain and the jump ring through the clasp on either side. And that's that. So, you know, I wish I could show you, but like I say, I do very simple stuff. And there's a lot of videos that show you how to do the simple wire wraps and the messy wire wraps like that. But there you go. So that's an idea for the ones that I showed you today if you wanted to do that, or you could do the little beads. And again, that's pretty straightforward. You just get a piece of wire, loop it on one end, add your beads, loop it on the other, add a jump ring so you can put your cord through, attach it to the little hook thing there, and you've got yourself a pendant. And then last but not least, I'm just going to show you another one that I did. Now, I didn't do it exactly the same as this. It's still mokume gane. I just didn't do it in the way that I showed you. I just did a regular, you know, stack it on top of each other with different colours. I used translucent clay, but translucent clay with the colour already in it, and then like sheets of translucent in between on top of, yeah, that was white clay, as was this one. I did that on white clay, whereas these are all on opaline. And that's that one. As you can see, I did it all in translucent blues, but that was just a regular mokume. All right, same thing. I put one of those little hooks in and I added a ribbon, but I just think they're so pretty. So take your pick. You can do a big one and make it into a ornament like this, or you can just keep it smaller and make these beautiful pendants and or earrings. All right, guys, it's good to be back. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye.